It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. And now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Nashville, all across the John Fredericks Radio Network, which is growing, by the way. The John Fredericks Radio Network is in 20 radio stations right now in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Georgia, Atlanta, and Tennessee. Here in Tennessee, where we're based, 760 AM WENO in Nashville, 730 AM KQPN in Memphis. And, of course, all of the stations in Virginia, Fredericksburg and Richmond and Norfolk and all across Virginia. But, hey, you can go to the John Fredericks Radio app or go to newstalk760.com. Download the app, and you can listen to the John Fredericks Radio Network online all across the country. By the way, if you want to call in, we're delighted to hear from you. We had the other day, I sat in the last hour of the John Fredericks Radio Show, and we had 3 calls from California. You can call us here. It's a different number. You can call us at 615-649-8477. Also, 615-649-8477. Also, you can watch us on YouTube and on Rumble. Just go to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show on YouTube. Okay, we're going to catch up on the last 13 days of the election. What's the messaging coming out? And we're going to start with some messaging from the Harris-Walz campaign. By the way, we don't have any particularly campaign on the stump messaging from Harris. She gave another couple of disastrous interviews yesterday with NBC, but she was not out on the campaign trail. We have Tim Walz was on the campaign trail. He doesn't like Elon Musk. And I'm going to warn you, there is a particular word that he uses here. We think we're going to be able to silence it when it comes out. But just a heads up, he calls Elon Musk a bad word. And we'll play this clip right now, and you'll see. Clip 3, Tim Walz criticizing Elon Musk yesterday.
Elon's on that stage, jumping around, skipping like a on these things. You know it. Think about it. Think about that. That guy is literally the richest man in the world, spending millions of dollars to help Donald Trump buy an election. Now look, they're saying the quiet parts out loud now because Donald Trump has already promised that he would put Elon in charge of government regulations that oversee the businesses that Elon runs. That's a hell of a buy. He could spend billions to make more than $10 billion on the back end. So in other words, Donald Trump, in front of the eyes of the American public, is promising corruption. That's what he's promising.
Okay, excuse me while my eyes glaze over. Well, first, the dancing queen, Tim Walz, is criticizing Elon Musk for jumping up and down. Now, well, first, let's talk about Elon. He comes in and he does. I will say that's, it's good. Okay. He's an enthusiastic guy. He was literally jumping up and down on the stage. Okay. But the dancing queen, Tim Walz, if you look at all the montage of the videos of that guy, I mean, he's doing weird stuff. I mean, he looks like a performer in a third-rate theater in Provincetown, Massachusetts, if you know what I mean. That's what he looks like. And it's just very bizarre. And why would he bring that up? When he himself, dancing queen Tim Walz, has exhibited very odd behavior, dancing and jumping around and acting like a dip blank himself. Also, this is the guy you're going to attack. You're going to attack, in essence, the modern day Benjamin Franklin. Tim, did you see the technological accomplishment that Elon Musk's SpaceX had the other day? Did you see that booster rocket coming down at 2,000 miles an hour and then putting the thrust on the burners and literally hovering over that little the Megazilla thing that they landed in, the chopstick picker-upper, whatever that was? Was that not advancing human history? This is the guy that's got, AI stuff going on. He's got Tesla going on. Are you kidding me? I don't know. Kind of lame. So, okay. So we heard from Tim. Also, we heard this bizarre clip from Joe Biden, who said out loud what they've been trying to do for some time. Yeah, they want to lock up Donald Trump. Here we go. Joe Biden, clip 8.
This is a guy who also wants to replace every civil servant, every single one. Thinks he has a right under the Supreme Court ruling on immunity to be able, if need be, if it was the case, to actually physically eliminate, shoot, kill someone who he believes to be a threat to him. I mean, so I know this sounds bizarre. It sounds like if I said this 5 years ago, you'd lock me up. We got to lock him up.
Okay, now let me just stop for a moment. Donald Trump has already had 2 assassination attempts. There's Joe Biden making false claims that Donald Trump is going to try to, do whatever, do something violent to people. And then he said, we got to lock him up. Well, they've been trying. That is evidence that this is a rigged deal by the Joe Biden administration, by Merrick Garland, by the Department of Justice, by Fani Willis, all that sort of stuff. Meanwhile, that's their clip. What is Donald Trump doing? Well, we have a clip number 1 here, what he's talking about. Here, let's go Donald Trump. What was he doing yesterday?
I was going to hit her really hard on the trail today, but now I don't have to because she's off. She's off. No, I can't get over it. Who the hell takes off? We have 14 days left, and she'll take a couple of more days off, too. You know why? She's lazy as hell, and she's got that reputation. She's a radical left lunatic. She's further left than Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas. Now, Pocahontas, because I think, is Pocahontas further left than Bernie? Just about, right? It's close. Who the hell cares, right? Rick says, I don't know. But they're out there. But she's furthest left. We can't have a person. She's a Marxist.
Yeah, she is, in fact. And then we've got, just to give you an idea of Donald Trump having fun, Donald Trump's been having fun for years. We've got this clip here, see if we can get it in time. Clip 2, Donald Trump in the 90s commercial.
Gentle, Donald. Slowly, okay. That's good.
He's in a pottery class. It's not going
for
well.
your pot? 500, 600.
Introducing Cozone.com, the place to find computer help and buy what's right for you.
Hey.
Hey yourself.
Cozone.com, we can help.
Okay, that's kind of self-deprecating, and it's funny. But that was he did that commercial, 30 years ago? 30 years ago, with a sense of humor and an understanding of, the kind of reputation that he has. But it's all in good fun. This is the difference right now. This is how you tell that how presidential campaigns go. Kamala Harris was all holed up in Washington, D.C., did an NBC interview that was disastrous. Meanwhile, Donald Trump was in North Carolina. He's having fun. If you're having fun, you're winning. We'll have more when we get back. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Hey there, this is Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of The Glock Store. As a proud sponsor of this show, you may have heard Michael Patrick Leahy mention us a few times over the past 4 years. But today, it's me on the radio telling you how pleased we are to be associated with Michael Patrick Leahy and his dedication to the highest levels of professional journalism. Michael Patrick Leahy has been threatened with jail time in bringing the true facts about that Nashville Covenant shooting to his listening audience. Michael Patrick Leahy, you keep doing what you're doing, and we here at the Glock Store will keep sponsoring your show for the good of Nashville and the entire country. And I'm personally inviting all of your listeners to come visit and shoot at the Glock Store. It's where Michael Patrick Leahy learned to shoot a gun for the first time and where he bought his own personal Glock 19. I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store here in Nashville, just minutes from the airports, worth the drive from anywhere, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy and the Tennessee Star Report.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Okay, we promised we wanted to bring you up to speed on what happened on the campaign trail yesterday. All the momentum is with Donald Trump right now. All the joy is with Donald Trump. There's no happiness in the Kamala Harris camp. But we want to bring you some of the developments from yesterday. By the way, if you want to call, our number is 615-649-8477, 615-649-8477. Particularly interested, if you're listening to us in California on the app, I'd like to hear from you. Okay, so let's go now to Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard and Donald Trump were in North Carolina, campaigning in Greensboro, North Carolina. That's sort of in the west center of the state. It's a fairly big area. It's right next to Winston-Salem, where Wake Forest University is. Okay, so Tulsi Gabbard made a big announcement yesterday. Here we go, clip 9. Tulsi Gabbard with her big announcement.
And it is because of my love for our country, and specifically because of the leadership that President Trump has brought to transform the Republican Party and bring it back to the party of the people and the party of peace, that I'm proud to stand here with you today, President Trump, and announce that I'm joining the Republican Party. I'm joining the party of the people, the party of equality, the party that was founded to fight against and end slavery in this country. It is the party of common sense and the party that is led by a president who has the courage and strength to fight for peace.
You know, Donald Trump has put together a really outstanding team of supporters. He's got Tulsi Gabbard, now a Republican. He's got Vivek Ramaswamy, a really brilliant guy who either is going to serve in the cabinet or will run for governor of Ohio. And I think he's likely to win. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on in Ohio with Tom Zalestowski in our next segment. Then you've got, J.D. Vance, brilliant guy, and who's the vice presidential nominee right now. And look, I mean, if you look at that, and I've got to mention Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's really doing a strong job bringing in the Make America Healthy Again coalition. And the question is, where do all these people end up, right? They're all going to play a role. And it's sort of, and of course, Elon Musk. Right? Got to throw in Elon Musk, the Benjamin Franklin of our times. So, you got to take a look at this and say, where do these people end up? Where in the cabinet? Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he'd probably be involved. I don't know if he'll get Health and Human Services, but he'll be involved in making America healthy again. That's for sure. And then you've got Vivek. I think Vivek is probably, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Vivek. There's a lot of places for Vivek. And then the other person to talk about is Tulsi Gabbard. What's he do with Tulsi? I mean, she served in the military. She served in Iraq. She's still in the National Guard. She could serve in defense, the Department of Defense or Department of State, or I don't know, ambassador to the United Nations. Those would all be possibilities for Tulsi. It would seem to me. I would think. Tell you what I do, Mr. Trump. Is he on the phone here? Yeah, I guess he is. Where should we put Tulsi? I'm going to make her ambassador to the United Nations. I think she'd be very good at that. So there you go. Okay, let's take a look at Mark Halperin. What's he think's going on? He's the former ABC guy, former NBC guy, and pretty good. He's kind of center left, but here's what he says about where we are with this election. Here we go, clip 5.
Good morning, everybody. Let's lead with the lead, as they say in journalism. If the early vote numbers stay the way they are, and that's a big if, we'll almost certainly know before Election Day who's going to win the election. We're going to talk a lot about that. The reasons why Democrats might be underperforming, the prospect that they'll recover. But again, make no mistake, if these numbers hold up in the states where we can understand even partially what the data is like, we'll know that Donald Trump's going to be president on Election Day. So we're going to talk about that, but I didn't want to bury that because it's extraordinarily important. And we got to track that day to day. That's more important than the polls right now. It's more important than almost anything because it's giving us insight into a variety of factors that are accounting for a Republican overperformance by various metrics in the early voting in the battleground state.
Yeah, I think that's right. Now, he said something very important. We have to track this day to day, which means if you are a Trump supporter or a Republican and you have not voted yet, go and vote today. In fact, call your 3 closest friends or 3 people you just know at random. Call them and tell them to go and vote for Donald Trump today. That's called, as Stephen K. Bannon would say, action, action, action. That's what we need right now. We need action, action, action. And your action is to go and vote. And why is it important to do it now? Well, because you don't want the Trump campaign or the Republican Party to be wasting resources trying to go after you to vote, because you are a high propensity voter. You want all of that time and energy to be focused on low propensity voters. Now, what was happening on the campaign trail yesterday with all these surrogates? Barack Obama was out there yesterday, and he gave we'll play what he had to say, and then I'll give you my comments on, are you kidding me? Here we go. Clip 6, Obama talking about toxicity in politics.
I don't understand how we got so toxic and just so divided and so bitter, and I get why sometimes people just don't want to pay attention to it. And we all have friends like that. We have family members who just like, it's all a circus out there. I get that.
Okay, so who made this thing toxic? That would be Barack Obama. Remember when he went to Pennsylvania back in 2008 and talked about the bitter clingers clinging to their guns and Bibles? There is, and you can see this in Barack Obama's behavior, there is a condescension towards average Americans coming from the Democrats. It's not playing well. Not playing well at all. And this claim that, how do we get so toxic? When, my advice to you, Barack Obama, is look in the mirror. Now, there's another good development yesterday for Donald Trump, and that was Nathan Wade, Loverboy, who was the boy toy of Fonnie Willis, the district attorney in Fulton County, who's got all these literally trumped up charges against Trump and booked him and all that sort of stuff. He was deposed by the House Judiciary Committee the other day, and here's a report on what he had to say. Here we go, clip 4.
Georgia prosecutor in the Trump election meddling case testifies before the House Judiciary Committee. That's Nathan Wade, and he admitted he met with White House staff on several occasions while working on the investigation that was led by Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis. He also says he had to brush up on his knowledge of racketeering law. So that continued.
Okay, and there's even more on this, right? How coordinated this was. In his testimony in the deposition, he said, I did meet with the White House people before I got, shortly after I got the appointment, but I don't really recall what we talked about. Are you kidding me? Is that perjury? I think it might be, right? He knows what he talked about. It's all about get Donald Trump. And by the way, did you see all this where he said he had to brush up on racketeering law? You don't know anything about racketeering law. One thing I can tell you about attorneys, people would say, oh, you're an attorney, you must know X or Y or Z. No. Attorneys have very, very narrow levels of specialization. And if you're going to do a racketeering charge, get somebody who's done racketeering before. Nathan Wade, Mr. Loverboy, no experience whatsoever in racketeering. He'd done basically DUI, divorce, all that sort of stuff. No transferability of that at all. Hey, when we come back, on the ground report from Ohio, Tom Zawistowski will weigh in. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. Stick around.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall and Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And we welcome to our Zoom Newsmaker line right now a great leader for the conservative populist movement in the state of Ohio, the founder of the We the People Convention, Tom Zawistowski, live from Akron, Ohio this morning. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Michael. Good to be with you again.
13 days.
Wow, hard to believe. It's kind of like having heart surgery, which I unfortunately had to have a while back. You think it's never going to get here, and then all of a sudden it's going to happen.
And then all of a sudden it gets there, right?
You might as well get it over with, right? Let's get her done.
What's the feeling of what's happening on the ground in Ohio today as we speak? Let's talk first about, there's three things I want to talk about. The presidential race, the Senate race, and then this issue one thing. But let's start off with the presidential race.
Yeah. So like around the rest of the country, things are definitely trending in Trump's direction. And it's really clear, that Kamala Harris is not going to change anything that they've done, and nobody likes what they've done. So if you're voting your pocketbook, if you're just trying to, say, hey, what's better for me? People are moving towards Trump, and you're seeing just crazy numbers in places like Georgia, where, Kamala's only got 24% of men supporting her, where young people are supporting Trump. It's happening all over the country. So, Michael, things are trending in the right direction. And then that's obviously affecting the Senate races. And here in Ohio, we have a really important Senate race with Bernie Moreno, going against 40-year incumbent Sherrod Brown, who has voted 100% of the time with Obama, Biden, and will with Harris. And Bernie has taken the lead by about 3.5%. And we think it'll do better than that because Trump's going to do, better than 9%. We think he'll do 10 or 12. And so that's happening in Pennsylvania. That's happening in Michigan. That's happening in Wisconsin. Even Carrie Lake, I'm enthused because she had a great debate out in Arizona, and I think she's closing the gap. And Trump is over 50% in Arizona. So I'm hoping that we can get Carrie Lake to win the Senate seat in Arizona.
Now, on the ground, obviously there's been, campaigning done by, well, not so much. I don't think Harris has spent any time in Ohio, as far as I can tell.
Very, very little. Just some TV ads.
Yeah. And but the surrogates there. Of course, you get the bleed over from Michigan just to your north.
Yeah.
Is there any messaging coming out of the Harris-Walz campaign that is resonating with voters in Ohio?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, absolutely not. Their messaging is incoherent, Michael. I mean, look at her. They're on these, these interview shows. I mean, yesterday's interview was just a disaster. She can't explain why Joe Biden's not the presidential candidate now. She can't even admit that she, knows that he's not, fully functioning. And so how does that undermine you? It's pathetic. And then they're out there, campaigning with Liz Cheney and these, just rhino never Trumpers. How does that win you anything? So, it's really bad, and that's good for us. But we still have to work hard, Michael. We've got to grow the vote. And I want to talk a little bit about that too.
Okay. Before we get to the grow the vote and issue one, let's talk about the media in Ohio. You got 7 markets. You've got local television, all of which seems to be, run by the globalist left. Besides our publication in Ohio, the Ohio Star, and then Jack Windsor's Ohio Press Network, you've got, I guess, two conservative talk radio hosts there. Bob France up in Cleveland, Jack
Brian
Windsor.
Thomas. Jack Windsor. Maybe Brian Thomas in Cincinnati.
And Brian Thomas in Cincinnati. We've got 3.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, Cleveland.com, the Columbus Dispatch, the Cincinnati Enquirer, every local television station there, they seem to be, I don't know, from the current CBS News propaganda school of journalism, what kind of impact is the Ohio media having on the campaign up there right now?
Yeah, the good news, Michael, is almost zero, because they literally are just completely losing their audience because of 2016, 2020, Trump calling them fake news. We on the ground, the grassroots have been doing that. There is nobody in Ohio other than, urban dwellers who watch the local broadcast stations, let alone the networks. That, their websites have just, terrible, viewership, readership. And that's good, because, the American people have learned some hard lessons since 2016 about what's really going on in our society. And you and I have talked about this, Michael, and I think this is really true. I think that if we can get President Trump elected, God willing, and we can start to reform our government, we have to take a serious look at broadcast licenses, because these are not news agencies. They are propagandists.
Mm-hmm.
They are literally Democrat operatives. They're literally taking notes from the campaign.
Really?
And Sherrod Brown is just being given unbelievable airtime in Cleveland, for instance, for his campaign. They need to lose their broadcast licenses. That's not what the public airwaves are for. And Trump is talking about it. And I think we're going to see that happen. And I think it'd be a good thing for America to redefine what the media means.
So you've got this Grow the Vote program. Tell us about that.
So I really want people, particularly like in Tennessee, let me speak to your Tennessee audience. We need to understand that whether you're in the bluest of blue states like California, New York, Illinois, or you're in the reddest of red states like Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, you have to vote if you want to save our country, because the best way to prevent the cheating, to prevent illegals voting from determining the election, but most importantly, to prevent the riots and the civil unrest that the left may try to unleash, is if Donald Trump wins the popular vote. So take Tennessee. Trump's going to win Tennessee. Some people in Tennessee, some people are saying, well, why do I have to vote? Trump's going to win anyway. Let me tell you something. In 2020, there were 4.4 million Tennesseans registered to vote, and 3 million voted. 1.4 million Tennesseans didn't vote. I'm calling on all of you to go to the polls and vote for Donald Trump, because if he wins the popular vote, there can't be, he's an illegitimate president. We got to get rid of the Electoral College. We're going to burn the place down because, he's really not our president. If he wins the electoral vote and he wins the Electoral College, then we can implement our agenda. And I ask people to go to wethepeopleconvention.org and look at the article I put out yesterday. It lists all 50 states. 56 million registered voters didn't vote in 2020. If 15% of them vote this year, Donald Trump wins the popular vote and saves our country. I'm calling on you, patriots, to do that.
So, Tom, explain to our listeners here the importance of, I guess you have a proposition. Is it called Issue 1 up there?
Oh, boy. Well,
tell us what that entails and where does that stand?
So basically, it's a ballot initiative to change the Ohio Constitution and their ads are really, just devious, because it says, we're going to stop gerrymandering. But what the law that they're proposing does is legalizes gerrymandering of congressional and state, districts by the left. This thing is horrible. And they got $15 million to run for TV ads. They have Swiss billionaires funding this. And here's the bottom line. We, the Tea Party, in 2009 and 10, turned Ohio from a blue state and then a purple state to a totally red state. If they pass this constitutional amendment in Ohio, they're going to jerry-rig all the districts from Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus and bring them out into the rural areas to make every district 50-50 Republican and Democrat, and we're going to become a blue state again. Vote no on issue 1, folks. This is heinous. This is really just election interference to the on steroids. Because once they get this passed, if they do, the people appointed to do the districting in Ohio cannot be removed. They have to resign. They can only be removed by their own members. So it's a horrible thing.
Tom, have you done any polling on that in Ohio?
Yes, I just did some this week. Fortunately, it's about 50-50, but there's about 20% who goes, issue 1, I've never heard of it. So we have an ace in the hole, though, Michael. We have an ace in the hole. Our Secretary of State, Frank LaRose, wrote the ballot language to really explain what this is. And if you go to the voting booth or get your absentee ballot and read the first sentence of issue 1, you'll go, no, I ain't voting for that.
You're not going to vote
so
for that.
If we win, it may be because of Frank LaRose's fighting to have accurate ballot language.
Last question. J.D. Vance has been spectacular on the campaign trail. He, of course, is from Ohio and grew up in Ohio, graduate of Ohio State University. And, of course, his story well known in the book he wrote, Hillbilly Elegy, followed by the movie that Ron Howard put out about it, which did quite well.
Yeah.
He has really, I think, set a new standard of dealing with hostile regime media. Frankly, if you're in the hostile regime media, why would you interview J.D. Vance? Because he's like, they've interviewed him like 40 times. His record of wins and losses, 40 wins, 0 losses. Are people in Ohio extraordinarily proud of J.D. Vance?
We are, and we're really excited. Think about, Michael, 4 years of him being the vice president to Trump, to be out there defending the Trump agenda and the Trump policies. How great will that be compared to someone who's as feckless as Mike Pence? J.D. Vance, again, the pick, and Trump was criticized, right? Boy, Fox News was just disgusted when he picked J.D. Vance because J.D. Vance is going to be the face of our MAGA movement in the future. And that's what's really exciting for those of us in Ohio. You got Jim Jordan, you got J.D. Vance. We're expecting to have Bernie Moreno, Donald Trump. Ohio's going to carry, its weight, in reforming our country and making America great again by installing America First policies once we can retake control of our government. Very exciting times.
Tom, and let me agree with you. I think when voters go into the booth, they say, oh, okay, Trump, Vance, that's 12 years of conservative excellence versus Harris Waltz, 16 years of Marxism? I don't think so. Tom?
No, I agree. I agree, Mike.
Tom
that's what they're doing, and that's why independents are moving so strong to Trump as well, I think.
Tom Zostowski with We the People Convention. Give us a website quickly. What is it?
Yeah, wethepeopleconvention.org.
wethepeopleconvention.org. Tom, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, Michael. All the best to you. You Tennesseans, get out there and vote and grow the vote, doggone it.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Back after this. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We have a breaking story we want to bring to you right now. It's just been out for about half an hour. Kamala Harris, who apparently for a second consecutive day, apparently is not on the campaign trail today. She's doing interviews. She's in her, she's gone to her spa, apparently. I'm joking here. I don't know if she's gone to a spa or not. Because she needed to just, release some of the tension of the campaign. And so yesterday she was not on the campaign trail. She had a couple of interviews that came to, I don't know, wherever she's officed. And they didn't go well, one with NBC News. And then she has today, and they just released this tape, she did an interview with Telemundo. Now, there are two Spanish language television networks in the country today. One is Univision, and they're kind of the big boy in town. I think they've got like a 10% market share of the entire country. But then the other one is Telemundo. Telemundo, when last I checked, is a wholly owned subsidiary of NBC News. And it's sort of, the second place Spanish language network. There was a time, I know these networks. I worked with them way back when in the 90s. I had a company called Tejano Syndications. And we syndicated Tejano music that was produced by the company that did all the videos for Selena, the late, great Selena. And so we would go and, pitch these 30-minute programs called Puro Tejano. And I would go and I would sell them and get advertising for them. And so we were, many markets, some ABC, CBS, NBC markets, some Univision markets, some Telemundo. The Telemundo is actually easiest to get on as opposed to Univision. They were kind of, what's the right word? A little bit arrogant and not interested in something that they didn't create. But Telemundo was open to it because they were in second place. Anyways, so she did this interview that's going to air tonight at 7 p.m. on Telemundo. They put out about half an hour ago a clip from that interview. And it's a little bit like her 60 Minutes disaster, right? Where they put out one long word salad. And then when they did the show itself, they edited it in a way to make her look less stupid, which is, kind of hard to do. But, they worked on it, got it done. So here, we're going to play this clip. Telemundo anchor interviewing Kamala Harris, hot off the presses, just released about half an hour ago.
Right now, we're talking about border security, and there's no Democrat talking about pathway to citizenship, an immigration relief, and the benefits that migrants bring to this country.
Oh, but there's no question that migrants bring. America is a country that was built in part by immigrants.
But people are concerned about their TPS, their DACA, their. We're talking about mass deportations.
I'm not talking about.
What do you stand on mass deportations? What's your stand there?
We need smart, humane immigration policy in America that includes a pathway to citizenship.
There you go, folks. Amnesty. She wants amnesty. And obviously this reporter is looking for, open borders. He's with Telemundo. He clearly wants open borders, and he wants all of these illegal aliens to instantly become citizens, have that pathway to citizenship. She just endorsed it. Now, he also mentioned something called TPS. What is that? It's temporary protected status. We've talked about temporary protected status on this show. It is an abuse of the 1990 Immigration Act. And under that, the Secretary of Homeland Security has some authority to temporarily give protected status to groups from countries where there's all sorts of terrible stuff going on. And but it's supposed to be limited. Well, they've abused that, And they've used that to bring in, 200,000 Haitians into the United States of America. And they have dropped them off. I mean, these are people that are not vetted. These are people that, they just say, hey, sign up for this app. They fly them into the United States under this temporary protected status circumstance. And it's only supposed to be for like a year, but they keep extending it. They brought in 200,000 Haitians. And what are they doing with them? Well, they're destroying small American communities. There's a community, Charleroi, in Pennsylvania, they're destroying. Springfield, Ohio, they're destroying. Charleroi has like 4,000 people. They've just dropped in, an additional 2,000 or 3,000 Haitians. They're overtaking the schools. We have this clip that we didn't get to play, but in Springfield, Ohio, right now, population 60,000. I think they've added like 20,000 Haitians. All of the schools are taken over by Haitians right now. And the natives, American citizens in Ohio, their kids, they're being, threatened, abused, etc., by 20-year-old Haitians who are in freshman high school classes that don't speak English. So you got that. And then Logansport, Indiana. Now they've just dropped in. It's a city of small city of 16,000. They dropped in 5,000 Haitians. So from that interview, you can take what Kamala Harris is saying. All of those people that the Department of Homeland Security has illegally transported here to the United States under this TPS program. She wants them to have a pathway to citizenship. That's what's on the ballot right now. Look, I can tell you what. Is Telemundo going to take a page from the CBS editing plan, and are they going to try to clean up the mess that she just created? My guess, probably. Will they release the full transcript of it? Who knows? Because we know CBS has not yet done that. When we come back, it'll be time for the Tennessee Bonus Hour. We'll be joined here in studio by the original All-Star panelist, Crom Carmichael. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. Thanks for joining us.